Well, in the short term, United have got a big game against Luton on Saturday afternoon. After that, I think you'll have a bit of breathing space because there's the international break. So United won't be playing for around 2 weeks now. Driving in this morning, I was listening to the radio. There was some United fans calling in, saying perhaps it was time for Erik ten Hag to leave the club. The fact that United have lost 9 out of 17 games this season, does it mean that he's a manager who's under pressure? I think you've got to keep things in perspective because as far as United are concerned, they have no plans to replace their manager. Also, the club is in limbo because who would dismiss him if they wanted to dismiss him? Because of course, in the background we know there's been this whole takeover saga that's been going on for 12 months, and I think also Erik ten Hag contractually is on pretty safe ground. You know that Premier League managers, now in their contracts, they have clauses which makes it very difficult for clubs to dismiss them if they wanted to. I'm not saying that United want to dismiss him so, you know, Erik ten Hag's future is clouded in uncertainty, but everything at Manchester United is clouded in uncertainty at the moment. My understanding is that a date has now been set for the announcement that Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos will be buying a minority stake of around 25% in Manchester United. Now that of course is a very, very significant development. I think what we will then see is the setting up of a football committee which will run the club, and on that committee will be Jim Ratcliffe, Dave Welsford and also Joel Glazer, and of course they are going to have their hands full. Lot of decisions they'll be needing to make. One of them about Erik ten Hag's future, the future of infrastructure works on Old Trafford, what's going to happen in the January transfer window as well. But I think when it comes to the announcement of Jim Ratcliffe buying this stake, it is something that has to be choreographed pretty carefully at United. There were some suggestions that maybe there could be an announcement this week. I'm not sure about that. I think maybe it makes more sense to announce it during the international break. And of course, Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral is on Monday as well. So United have to think about that carefully as well. But it looks almost certain that Jim Ratcliffe will be moving into United very, very soon, and of course he will have control of the football side of the operation, even though he's only owned 25% of the club. Yeah, and if he was to come in and be in charge of that side of things, I guess the situation with Jadon Sancho is perhaps something that he will have to deal with as well. I think if you're somebody who is spending more than £1 billion buying Manchester United, one of the things you're going to look at, you've probably already looked at, is what is going on with Jadon Sancho. I mean, this guy was an England player when he was at Dortmund. He was one of the best young players in the world. He probably gets paid more than £200,000 a week, and yet he's eating packed lunches. He's not allowed into the first team dressing room at Carrington, all because of a standoff with Erik ten Hag because he won't say sorry about something that he posted on social media. So I'm sure one of the first things Dave Brailsford and Jim Ratcliffe will be doing is trying to solve this situation that has got out of control, and it needs to be solved one way or the other. Either Jadon Sancho gonna leave in January, or Ratcliffe and Brailsford are gonna get Sancho and Erik ten Hag in a room together, knock their heads together and say, look, we need to sort this out because it cannot continue like this. So those are one of the things that they need to sort out. Also, I think Jim Ratcliffe is going to have a difficult task winning over some United fans because yet again this Saturday there will be protests at Old Trafford. The supporters group, the 1958, have released a statement this morning saying they will be protesting and they want a full sale, only they don't think just having somebody buying 25% of the club is going to sort out the club's future. One final thing I would say as well regarding Erik ten Hag is when it comes to the performances, people are watching the players and saying, are these players really actually playing for Erik ten Hag? Do they still believe in the manager? I think there are elements of the United dressing room that have lost faith in the manager, but that kind of thing happens at clubs all over the country. I think the Jadon Sancho situation has created some splits in the United dressing room as well, and one person I was speaking to this morning said to me the problem Erik ten Hag has when it comes to the players is there's been too much stick and not enough carrot, so he's got this reputation being a real disciplinarian, and that's what he's like. But when it comes to modern footballers, I think the stick sometimes works, but you've also got to dangle the carrot in front of them. You need sometimes to sort of see things from their point of view, putting an arm around their shoulder, and maybe that's something that Erik ten Hag needs to work on going forward.